Good day to all of you. I'm Nurlan Auesbayev, and the warmest welcome to the new time on Jibek Joly World. 81.31% of Kazakh citizens cast their votes for Kassym-Jomart Tokayev. The Central Election Commission summed up the interim results of the presidential elections. According to the Central Election Commission Chairman Nurlan Abdirov, over 8,300,000 Kazakh citizens participated in the voting, which means that over 6,400,000 people voted for the incumbent head of state. Next comes Zhiguli Dairabayev with over 270,000 votes. More than 206,000 citizens made their choice for Karakat Abden and over 200,000 for Meiram Kazhyken. Nurlan Auesbayev got over 176,000 votes and Saltanat Tursynbekova over 168,000. Besides, 5.8% or more than 460,000 Kazakh citizens marked none of the above option. Kassym-Jomart Tokayev reviewed the exit poll results at the National Public Headquarters. According to them, the incumbent president is set to win the presidential election. In his speech, the head of state expressed gratitude to the people of coalition for placing great trust in him and defined the election campaign as a historic one. Along with that, he noted that in order to build a strong state, it is necessary to establish justice, which is essential in implementing reforms. Therefore, Kassym-Jomart Tokayev called on all Kazakh citizens to unite and begin this work. Experts, politicians, diplomats, and analysts call the presidential election in Kazakhstan an important step towards the democratization of society, while the European partners support the country's reforms, said the European Union High Representative for Foreign Affairs and Security Policy, Josep Borrell. The European Union's top diplomat noted that Kazakhstan will remain the most important trade partner of the European Union in the region. He added that the role of Central Asia and its transit potential in the world would only increase.
And we are following closely the reform process in Kazakhstan, and we encourage this process to continue and become irreversible. And certainly we have to praise for the reforms that has been started, for the reforms that the president is conducting.
Experts define the main political event of this year as the starting point for a fundamental reboot of the entire political system of Kazakhstan and its key state institutions. Expert of the Institute of World Economics and Politics, Arman Toktushakov, notes that the presidential election is the beginning of the formation of a new, more democratic model of government. The parliamentary elections scheduled for the next year will become the next stage of political transformation, he added.
Очень важно понимать, что парламент, как важнейший политический институт,
It is essential to understand that the parliament, as the most important political institution, will be reformed. 2 or 3 new parties are likely to emerge in the future. They will undergo all the necessary registration procedures. Most importantly, the competition is increasing. Competition is the main factor in promoting democracy. The more competition there is, the more alternative viewpoints of the country's development will be put forward. And most importantly, why are these political reforms so important for an ordinary Kazakh citizen? Because it is the government and political system that is in charge of the implementation of economic reforms in the country. If our political system is renewed, it will become more efficient, balanced, and transparent, which in turn will positively affect the well-being and quality of life of all Kazakh citizens.
влияет на благополучие и качество жизни всех казахстанцев.
Voting in the United States has been over today at 10 a.m. Astana time. The last to complete its work was the polling station in San Francisco. It bears noting that the given voting location was just set up this year. Kazakh citizens living overseas showed strong turnout in the presidential election.
An 87-year-old Tapian Aukhadiev has also expressed his civic stance. The Aksakal arrived at his polling station early in the morning. He believes that every citizen should contribute to the country's development. He cast his vote for his candidate, Aukhadiev added. I came here to vote for the future of my country, for the future of the younger generation and the Kazakh people. Most Kazakh citizens live in New York City. Those Kazakh voters residing in the neighboring cities could also cast their votes at the polling station in the metropolis. I came to New York from Harvard specifically to vote, since the future of our country is being determined now, and therefore I decided to fulfill my civic duty. The voting process at the polling station was monitored by independent observers, who also expressed their views on the electoral process. The voting was held in compliance with all the requirements. The paper ballots were maintained secret. Every citizen could anonymously mark his ballot and put it into a ballot box. No violations were reported.
And in other news, Kazakhstan will resume cattle exports within the quota in December. As decided by the Interdepartmental Commission, 60,000 heads of cattle and 120,000 heads of small cattle can be exported, the Agriculture Ministry reported. Meanwhile, the country drastically increased meat exports nearly 3.5 times in a year. Now Kazakhstan is a key supplier of the product in Central Asia. The ministry said that there is demand for meat in the Middle East as well. Besides that, more people are willing to invest in the industry. Last year, 30 projects worth $200 million were implemented thanks to investments. Kazakhstan is becoming a new point of attraction on the world travel map. This is evidenced by the statistics, namely the growing number of those wishing to see and unravel the mysteries of the Great Steppe country, enjoy picturesque views of nature, and deep into the rich culture and traditions of the nation.
The flow of travelers to the Atarar region has tripled. Every year there are more and more people who want to see the beautiful places of the region, experts say. Demand breeds supply, making tourist infrastructure develop. For instance, 5 recreation centers along the Kigash River are now open for guests to rest comfortably. Our season starts in spring and ends in autumn. Sometimes we have tourists in winter. In summer, people come to us to see the lotus blossom. More than 1,200 people visited the resort in the last 6 months. Due to the increase in the flow of vacationers, it has been decided to organize a whole tourist cluster here. This year, new recreational areas will be built in the natural area. Work on 2 sites will be completed by the end of the year. Tourist facilities here are opened by entrepreneurs from other regions of the country too, not only the local ones. I would say that tourism in the Kurmangazi district is developing very well. The main areas are hunting and fishing. The Karaganda region is not far behind in terms of tourist attractiveness. For instance, the mountain oasis in the Karkarali National Park is visited by 20,000 tourists annually, and now it is planned to increase their number. For this purpose, it is intended to create a whole mini-city of campsites. The Karkarali district officials allocate land plots located on the border of the town of Karkarali and the territory of the national park. For example, 8 plots were allocated last year and 7 plots were leased this year. In total, there are 35 health resorts in the town of Karkarali. Up to 3,000 people can stay here all at the same time. However, there are more and more tourists wishing to rest in the pine forest. This year, tourism revenues exceeded 260 million tenge. Therefore, the tourism infrastructure development is stimulated here by all means. By the end of the year, 75 land plots will be leased within the national park. A master plan for a specially protected natural area has been developed. It is currently undergoing an environmental impact assessment.
More and more people of different ethnicities are showing interest in learning Kazakh language. Special courses are being opened for them, for example in Aktobe. Here people wishing to study have all the necessary conditions. There are several levels of training, from conversational to professional. People can study both offline and online.
Suliko Tetemadze attends one of these courses. In his opinion, every Kazakh citizen should know the official language of the country. It is not only a requirement of today's realities, but also a demonstration of respect for the state of residence. Therefore, after taking the language course, Suliko plans to involve his family.
главное начать, а потом уже с друзьями.
The main thing is to start, and then I will call my friends to join me. When I make a toast, I want to surprise others and say it in Kazakh. It is not that someone requires this from me. I want it myself. I would also like to urge everyone to study.
Также хочу всех призвать, учитесь.
Kazakh language speaking club with free classes is attended by people of different nationalities.
Қазақ тілінің қолданыс аясын кеңейтуге қандай да бір үлес қосып.
At the very beginning, the center was attended by 5 to 7 people. Now their number reached 30. As a patriot of the country and a person with an active civic stance, I am very pleased with the increased interest in learning the state language. I'd like to do my part to broaden the scope and strengthen the role of Kazakh language. Russian citizens are also keen to learn Kazakh language. Today, more than 60 residents of Omsk, Orenburg, Chelyabinsk, Volgograd, and other cities of the neighboring country acquire basic knowledge online. In general, since the opening of the state center, about 20,000 people have learned Kazakh language, 25% of whom are foreign-born ones.
That's all the news we've got for you today. I'm Nurlan Auesbayev. Make sure to stay tuned, and I'll see you very soon.